Welcome back. My name is Mark Anthony Dubose Jr. and I was born July 4th, 1986. I want to say thank you for tuning in. Today, I want to talk about these dogs getting in the way of just me putting a question out there to my own self. Mark, why do you care so much about not having and putting any kind of tools on your dogs? Like, why are you just so against a prong collar and an e-collar and using them and having them on your dogs? Something that, for some reason, no one's actually like specifically wrote that message to me or wrote that comment to me in any way, but something that I want to talk about because it's something that I believe is very powerful in why I just don't use anything anymore. Because I would always, the first thing that I noticed was I would have things fine looking over there, like just say appearances. Things appeared to be good in a scenario like something over there. So say out in public, the appearances, things looked good. The dog walked with me. The dog was by my side. The dog always came back to me when I tell the dog to come to me. Appearances, the dog was amazing looking. People are always like oohs and ahs, like that's a nice looking dog. Like that dog is you on point with that dog. And then I always noticed that I would have like things looked good there, but then over there, I would have problems that I didn't quite know how to like get through without using the same stuff I used to get the dog over there to look good. So in reality, it was something of I had to, so for instance, I could just go down to the simple prong collar that I was using on my dog Johnny. I would always have to have it on him on a pretty much 24/7 basis. It wasn't like I just used it to take him for walks in public. I had to use it for everything, even down to like meal times, even just down to everything, down to getting him to not just jump out of the van when I open the door up and just tell him to wait. Like I had to use it for everything, to tell him not to bum rush out the door when I tell him to get out of the door. Tell him to get off the couch when I'm asking him to get off the couch. Tell him to get out of the kitchen when I'm asking him to get out of the kitchen. It was just like it was just a battle, I felt like. Like I had to use it all the time in every scenario. And just for me, this isn't for everyone. For me, I want to live in a world of something that I just never understood as a child and until recently in reality of stability. I want to be stable. I want to know that what I do here, I'm also going to be able to do there. I don't want to have like two different huge setups to just be able to work in this world. I want to know that we are just able to just work without the need of anything extra. Because it's something that I've realized and something to hopefully just inspire someone to just try some different stuff out with your dogs in reality. I'm not here to say what to do and how to do it. And if you do it like this, everything is going to be perfect. No, you gotta figure that out on your own. You got to learn what you're capable of being able to just, the word I want to use and say here is deal with. You're not going to have anything perfect, but there's things that we're going to have to be able to, Oreo all done. They're fine. I'm not worried about them. Things that we have to be able to deal with. Like for me, for instance, a scenario right there. I'm accepting of realizing that this dog is going to occasionally move some chicks around. Because for one, it's the language that I've told him. Don't let any of these animals get close to me. I don't want them next to me. Because I don't know why, but some of them, especially I used to have a old rooster that was like, he was crazy. He'd get near, he'd try to always attack me. He'd attack anybody. He attacked the bull. He attacked all the dogs. He attacked everything. And he was tough. So I don't want him behind me. Because he hit me a few times and it hurts. Their spurs hurt. So I have to be able to accept the fact that he's going to be on duty doing stuff that, say, right now, I don't want him to do. But I don't want to shut everything down with him from that, realizing what I can just deal with. Certain things I can deal with and other things that I can't. For me, I could deal with what he's doing if I could just simply say to him, okay, we're done, we're not doing that. Someone else, you can't deal with that. So there's things that we have to deal with. And one thing that I just realized when I was kind of going down the route of using my prong collar and my e-collar on my dog, those two specific tools, I didn't really notice too much with my slip leash, for instance. It was the prong, it was the e-collar, because it's a different sensation. The dogs just this is the part that they're smart. They're not dumb. And this is where I was starting to see how they do have a level of like intelligence behind them, because they know when it's on and they know when it's off. And the big thing I want to say here is I didn't like that my dogs had to do stuff or else, because they did it because basically I said so. I wanted them to do because they wanted to do. And that brings you into something completely different as an overall, what I would say is a stable environment to be in. Now, when I'm asking them to do stuff and they want to do it because they want to do it, I can use that language in any scenario. Hey man, get off the couch right now. Hey man, get out of my kitchen. hey man, get out. I don't know. I'm just picky with certain things in the house. Get out of the bathroom. My dogs are not allowed in my bathroom. I don't care if I'm on the toilet, I'm in the shower, I'm brushing teeth. You're not allowed in my bathroom. Get out of my bathroom. And I can simply just look at them and say to not do that without going to the route of I have to have, because this is what I used to have to do. I used to have that prong collar on to convince the dog to get the heck out of my bathroom. And I would have to reinforce that. Every time I came in, I said, no, get out. No, get out. No, get out of my kitchen. No, get out. Because the kitchen, for a lot, like for me personally, Johnny's the only one that's allowed in the kitchen. The Dalmatian, she's not allowed in the kitchen because she just can't handle herself yet. All the food, I'm sitting here cutting and trimming, and I cook like 95% of nowadays. I'm this past couple months, 100% of my meals. I'm making 100% of my meals, so I'm cooking and trimming and cutting and doing what I'm doing, and it's overwhelming for her. She's just like, oh my goodness, there's food. So I'm like, you're cut from the kitchen. Johnny, he's allowed to be in there because he knows if I lay down, I might get something, and he sure does. I always give him something when he's just laying down, hanging out, and he can do that. But to convince him to do that was a nightmare before. Always having to reinforce this, reinforce that, do this, push this, do that, get this set up, have this treat, have this collar, it was just a nightmare. I'm like, I just want to be able to live. I just want to be able to be. And I noticed that when I'm going down the route of I'm telling you to do something because just because, as opposed to just saying, let's you do it because you want to do this for me. Transforming the dog into what the dog, in my opinion, just is all about, wanting to please. Even though my Dalmatian and my Pyrenees, they are on the side of, they don't really care to please as much. That little bit that's in them, I'm trying to sparkle that interest in them to say, I know you want to do this just for the best of us. You just because that's what the dogs are all about, is to do stuff for us as humans, to please us. Some are more capable of doing things on their own, but they still want to please us. It's in them. And I'm trying to just push that more. So if today, like for instance, my Pyrenees, he listens to me so much better today than he ever has. I used to come in with in reality, unfortunately, a lot of pressure to him. Dude, shut up. Stop barking right now. You know, he had to. Whereas today, he can go off like even just earlier. My neighbor is running his dog, and he goes off. He's like, I got to go get him. I'm like, we're good. He's just like, oh, okay, well, I'll go back and lay back down. So he's just here on the patio, just laying down. I can explain it to him. Even though he's like 10% wanting to listen, I'm able to amplify that 10% because I'm putting it back into what I want to say is the core instincts of using the fact that the dogs want to please us. And when I'm working on the dogs want to please us, that's what gets me to not have to worry about certain things of equipment to try to make the dog listen to me. And that for me is what I'm looking for. Someone might say, oh, you have a huge ego. You don't want equipment and tools and this on your dogs be able to use it. No, I just want to go back to what I want to have is stability. I want to know that I don't need to make the dog do something. I want the dog to do it because it's in their best interest in reality to do. And not because they're going to get hurt, punished, beat down, yelled at, slandered, anything to them. But just because we're actually going to benefit as a pair doing what we're doing here. You're going to get something, I'm going to get something. Because they can't be in my bathroom, I don't know what it is, but I seriously think that the dogs want to watch us in the bathroom because we're watching them in their bathroom. I don't watch them no more. So it might be weird, but you do what you do over there, and even if I'm on leash and they're going potty, I just look the other way. Just so you got your own privacy. I want have my privacy. And as weird as can be is, my dogs kind of seem like they understand that. I'm not sitting here staring at them the whole time. I'm just give you your space, and I want my space. Even like right now, Dalmatian, she got her space. I want my space. She can look and do whatever she wants to do. But this is it's just so cool to see her progression of this everything out here. I mean, a chicken just walks right in her face, right? Just walk right along, and she just laying there looking at it like, "Hi, how you doing?" It's incredible, and that's what I want. I don't want her to get all excited and all giddy, and then I have to come in and do something with a leash or a collar, or even my flat collar at this moment. I'm trying to do everything in a verbal sense. That's what I'm trying to get to, so that we're stable. What she does here, she's going to do in the house. What she does in the house, she's going to do at the park. What she does at the park, she's going to do at the farmer's market. What she does at the farmer's market, she's going to do at the road races I go to. I've got a road race coming up next month. Yeah, next month. Then I'm going to be running with her. She's going to act the same way there as she acts at the park and everywhere else that I take her. I want to be stable. Stable. That my language is always the same in all cases. And for someone, you're cool with, you have the prong on my dog 24/7 to get my dog to listen to me. For me, it's too much work. It's too much. It's just straight up. I got a lot to do in my life. To someone else, your dog is your world. So that may be easy for you. For me, I got a lot in my life going on. I can't like be rushing off to go do something. For instance, if I got man, there's stuff that just happens randomly. I got a cow that's not where it needs to be. I don't let the other dogs come with. It's only the border collie. He's the only one that can come with. So I gotta like quickly just, y'all go. I'm coming out in kind of like a haste. I'm all excited. Let's get going. So of course the other dogs are also getting excited. Like, oh, what are we about to do? What are we about to do? I have to be able to get Johnny to stay on the patio. Hey, Ophi, stay on the patio. I don't know why the parent comes with me now, but he's just kind of like a audience in the background, but he don't work, so I don't care. He can do what he do. But to be able to do that, I don't want to have to like, I got to go get this collar, I got to put it on him, I got to do this because he's too excited right now, and him being too excited, how am I going to be able to calm him down? I got to do this. It's just too much for me. I got to just get up and I got to just go. When I'm just trying to go to the store, I'm not like trying to get all things prepped and figured out so that I can load the van and make sure that we're going to be good to go. I just want to go. I just got to go. I don't have time to just hang out and do and just worry about having all this stuff figured out to be able to just live. I want to just live. And I want to live as free as I can in the most unfortunate way you look at it, unfree country in the world in reality. I want to live as free as possible with my time that I have to be able to do. I don't want to have to be on like this strict regiment to be able to just do what I want to do. And that comes down to me of getting into the instinct of the dog of wanting to please. So each of these dogs, like this is what I believe is fascinating about this Dalmatian that I'm working with. Because in reality, I don't know why, but I want another one. Because she started off in a sense of she doesn't really care to please me as much compared to like say the border collie, especially the border. Oh my goodness, there's like none of the comparison here. They're like almost polar opposites here. That's why I'd be a very fascinating dog to in reality breed those two together to see if can we get something in the middle that'll be really good at just being confident and self-sufficient, and then a dog that also is very, very big to want to be able to please. That'd be like almost a perfect type of dog. A dog that's not going to be too reactive, too crazy, too nervous because they're pretty sound, but also a dog that just is willing to want to listen to everything that you basically have to say. It'd be a fascinating experiment to do. But the cool thing that I'm noticing is I'm starting off in a sense of she basically doesn't really care to listen to me, to convincing her of listening to me is going to be the best thing for you, and putting it on her and me working on her timeline. Her timeline is slow. It's slow. It's slow. Today, she's more willing to just hang out with me and just sit with me and just relax with me. Whereas day when I got her, heck no, she's just, she gone. She gone. That's why I have to leave her on leash at first because she gone. She gone. And I don't want to teach her those bad habits of just being gone all the time. Like, no, let's stay here. But now she started to learn I can stay closer. And it's basically coming down to what I want to say is the simple thing that I'm constantly doing that I've been saying for the last at least 6 months now, and I'm going to continue to keep on saying because I personally see the results from it. Grab you a leash, grab you a collar. I don't know if you can see the collar on this dog. There it is. Grab your collar and stick it on the dog and hang out with the dog. Hang out with the dog. At first, of course, the dog is going to be moving. You're not pulling. You're not doing anything. You're just hanging out with the dog. And then I started to notice that the dog starts to want to, like, say, listen to me the way that they should. They start to want to please me. And when they want to start to please me, now I no longer have to go to the point of I need to, punish the dog to want to do what it is that I'm looking for. Because now the dog wants to do what it is that I'm looking for. And the dog stays in that. And for me, I'm looking for stable. So that not only means that I want the dog to be that way, I need to be that way. And when I started to realize, this is a big thing with me, and I know a lot of y'all are running the same scenario, you're not stable. Because you start to get frustrated, you start to get irritated, you start to get this, you start to, oh, why aren't you listening? Why aren't you doing this? And then you start to change. And when you start to change, and then your cycles start to go way too high and way too low, you're way too excited and way too frustrated and irritated and mad and all that, and you're swinging too much, that right there is going to lead to, for one, an unstable dog your own self. And for me, I've been living my whole life trying to figure out how to become more stable because I used to have these really, really harsh swings. Harsh swings that I can go 2 months of just like partying, everything's fun, everything's great, and then I can go 8 months of just, I want to die. I don't want to be here no more. I've been trying to figure out how do I get to stable. Then I realized the more that I can not only just convince things around me, but me trying to figure out how to get the biggest things that I was realizing was what's frustrating me, what's irritating me, and start to learn how to like attack that. And then I started to learn how to get a little more stable And then I started to realize if I just start to be more stable with everything around me also starts to get that way. That's why, for the weird thing is, like, all my animals act that way. All my chickens even act that way. My cows, for sure, act that way. We're much more stable. But when I'm coming in with, like, I got to do something different over here as opposed to doing something different over here, you start to be two different people. And you're two different people, then you're wondering why your dog is just, words I could say, is acting a fool. Because you're acting like two different beings. One way you're saying, hey, you better, you better, you better. And then the other side, you're like, please, please, please. The dog's like, who are you? Which side should I pay attention to? Because the dog doesn't understand exactly, like, what's happening, what's going on. Johnny, you're good. Or you're good. You can go. I appreciate you coming though. Oreo. You good. What you doing under there? I'm sorry, y'all was just quiet. And I'm like, y'all gotta be doing something, but for the first time ever, y'all just doing everything I'm looking for. I appreciate you guys. But you can go back. Johnny, you can go back. Oreo, you can. It's probably nice and cool down there. Sorry, I just had a, when things are quiet, you kind of like, what's happening? What's going on right now? But the main thing is when I started to be more doing the same stuff everywhere, I started to realize that the dog has, like, all the desire to just want to please me, want to listen to me, want to do everything that I'm asking for from it, the way that I just understand dogs to be, is that's what they are. Yes, some are more and some are less. But the ones that are less, you just have to slow down. You got to slow down. And you got to understand that that dog, it needs time. This is the part that I think a lot of y'all and a lot of me and a lot of everything we mess up with. Taking the dogs from the shelter and just rushing it. Let's just go, 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 go. As opposed to, like, let's just hang out so that we can put it on the dog's timeline of it's going to be okay, and be able to get that dog to want to listen to us. And understand that we're safe, understand that we're good, understand that everything is all right. But we want to push it and push it and push it. And the more we're pushing it, the more we're fighting in reality. We're not really working together. We're not allowing the dog to get into something that a lot of people talk about today, coming down to, like, men and women. Men and women, in a sense of women don't want to, don't take this the wrong way, but women don't want to be women and men don't want to be men, in the sense that men are not being the what's the word to use there? The leader, to allow the woman to even want to be with that leader. So a lot of what's going on now is women have to work so hard, and then you're, like, looking for this guy. Then this guy is just like, I don't know what's going on here. I can't be with that because he's said so weak. So then you're just in this constant fight. You're not, like, working with each other. We're working against each other, and that's just proven, unfortunately, by statistics. We're not working with each other. We're working against each other. And that's what I see with dogs as well. We're working against each other. We're not working with each other. We're not allowing each to be able to function in the role that it needs to be in. A woman is trying to be a man is trying to be a woman. A dog is trying to be a human is trying to be a dog. We're not working with each other the way that we should be, using our instincts. We're trying to fight and force something to happen. We're trying to fight and force it to work, as opposed to just letting it work the way that it should work. One should want to be there and should want to please. The other should want to be there and should want to please. We should both be doing that back and forth. But when you have to come in with, this is the part with me on why I just personally don't like using a lot of the equipment, because then I have to come in with this level of I'm up here, you're way down here. Granted, these are dogs, people, and they're going to be much differently than humans. But the similar concepts work. You don't believe that you should respect and trust a dog, that, like I said, again, you're not going to want to listen to a single thing that I have to say. You're just going to keep doing what you're doing, because what I say just doesn't matter. But when you want to look at it in a different sense, because the way that I look at it is, in reality, practice and testing and trials for me to be able to have better relationships with people, that I do all the same stuff that I would do with these silly animals, because they show me something that I need to work on. But when I'm doing and being who I'm supposed to be, a leader that is trying to push to be able to see the best out of. The best out of the dog is to, Johnny, that's my egg. Nope, you're not eating those. You can have the ones in the back. You can't have the ones up here. That's my food right there, homie. You're not eating my food. To see the best in. Me to see the best in the dog is allow the dog to do what the dog is supposed to do. Want to get the dog into the sense that it wants to please. I can't get the dog into the sense of wanting to please when I'm just constantly, like, using excessive force. And excessive force to someone, to me, is, it sounds extremely saying that, but I just say that because that's just the way we are as humans today, people. I can't just say, oh, you just politely, no, you just didn't know. It is what it is. Just doing extra to the dog to say you better or else. When you start to go into that you or else language, then that's where we have to fight back. We have to have a fight. We have to have this pushback. It's just, it's natural. It has to be there. But when you come in and do the natural roles of how we should be, the dog should want to listen just because it wants to please you. You start to not have many issues at all. And that's what I'm starting to realize about just working with my dogs across the board with everything I got going on. They just have very, very, very minimal issues that I could just speak and then we get done. I don't need to like worry about what's that next thing if they don't listen. They just start to listen at this moment today without it having to be this fight. So when I say, hey, don't eat my eggs, Johnny's like, oh, okay, I'll get my face out of there. When I say, Oreo, where are you at? He's like, okay, I'll be right there. When I got the Dalmatian just sitting here, I'm just like, this is what I want from you right now. I want you to be here. And she's like, oh, okay, I understand. That's what you want right now. We're not going to the point of fighting. I'm going to the point of the dogs just doing what the dogs are intended to do. Please me. Okay, I can't have that right now. It's fine. It's okay. Instead of it being like, well, but what if? What if I take it? What if I? And that's what a lot of y'all are dealing with. You ask your dog to come in from the backyard, and the dog's like, well, I want a little extra time. As opposed to just saying, okay, that's what's best because I want to listen to you. I want to be there for you. I want to do this with you. I want to be with you. I want to do everything as a team with you. As opposed to most people, unfortunately, you're not a team. You're like on the opposite sides where you're just like, I want to do this, and the dog's like, no, I want to do this. And you're trying to figure out how to get to that middle. And the best way to get to the middle when you're like that is slap the AD collar on. Tap, tap. You better get over here now. But that's just not bringing something that is stable. You're moving on a swings here. Because when you don't have it, you don't have that on the dog. I see this a lot of times, especially first walking in a lot of people's houses. You got your e-collar around and dog's acting a fool. And you're like, oh, and then you pick it up and you put it on the dog and the dog just sits there and it's nice and pretty now. And it's like, it's two different animals here because you got one without it and then one with it. I'm looking for that one that I don't need it because there's always something with all pieces of equipment. They all fail, they all break. You all have issues with them all. But me being me, I'm able to just still be me. I'm able to represent me. I don't need anything extra, anything different with it. I could just be me. And I realized that the dogs have a much, much more desire to want to listen to me when I'm getting the dog in its instinct of pay attention to me because that's what you want to actually do. But when we try to rush things, that's when the dogs that's when we have to start to apply what I want to say is pressure to the dog to get that dog, to make that dog have to listen to me now, as opposed to want to listen to me. I want my dogs to want to listen because for one, I'm able to give them what it is that they need. They need to run, we're going to run. You want to chase, we can chase. You want to chew on something, I got you to chew on something. You want to dig something, I got you to dig something. You want to, whatever that's in that dog that they have to do, you want to go hunting, we go hunting for something. Whatever is in that dog, and that dog says, okay, you gave me that. Now, we can go off and whatever you want to do. Because I'm looking for the best in the dog. I'm not looking to try to strip away the dog from the dog. And that's what I'm going to say is complicated, I think, to most folks today because we don't look at dogs that way anymore. We look at Border Collies, or man, the big one that I just keep seeing, everyone just keeps buying are these Australian Shepherds. Yeah, they're pretty. They got cool coats. Their hair, they're everything about they're so soft. As soon as you pet one, you're like, wow, they're soft. They're different. They're so amazing. But they're a dog with a purpose. And if you don't give that dog any kind of its purpose, you're going to struggle with that dog. That dog you're going to get a lot of pushback from that dog. And that's why we have to go into pressuring the dog to listen to us, as opposed to getting into the instincts of getting the dog to want to listen, want to please, because those dogs want to please like crazy. And using that by allowing the dog to give them what its needs met. Give them its needs, and then watch how that dog is going to want to do everything in its world to listen to you. But we don't do that anymore, unfortunately. It's almost like it's like forbidden and hidden knowledge at this moment today of looking at the dog that you have and giving that dog something that it desires. It's like it's like, no, I want you to do everything I want. And it doesn't work that way. But it does work that way when you have like me with my Border Collie. He does what I need him to do, move animals, because that's what he's supposed to do. Oreo, nope, those are my eggs. I gotta tell both of y'all. Those are my eggs. And so of course he's gonna do exactly what I need him to do. I had a problem with I need to move animals around, and I got a dog that's doing what I want. He needs to do that. I'm like, you have to move animals. So of course I got that dog. Now if I would have got myself I don't even know, even like a normal German Shepherd of today, they don't move animals like that. Not the way that he moves them. They'll contain them, because I see how Johnny works when he works animals. He contains them. He doesn't move them. He'll push them to get into a corner and keep them locked there to make sure that they don't move, but he doesn't like push them through stuff. It would have been a horrible idea of me to go get that dog and thinking that I'm going to get this dog to do that. And that same logic goes for a lot of y'all with your dog in your house. I got a dog because I want to just be able to pet it all day and have it just hang out in the house. And then you got yourself a border collie. That's you got mismatched dogs. Mismatched dogs. You should have got you something completely different of a breed to be able to match with what you want, what you desire. Because there are an unlimited type of dogs out here. And there are different breeds that will fit specifically for you to be able to do that. And when you're looking at the dog in that sense, you're working with the dog, not against the dog. And that's a big thing that a lot of us are struggling with, that for me, on why I wanted to get away from the tools, because I want to be stable. I want to be stable. I don't want to have to, I got to put this on to get my dog to listen to me. I mean, there's a fabulous trainer said that a lot of people are looking up to, that says, oh, my dog only listens because he's asking recommendations. Someone's I don't want to use that word, fabulous trainer, but just what he does for the people that like what he does. They really like what he does. But someone gave a comment of, my dog only listens when the e-collar's on. His recommendation is, well, just leave it on all day. Just leave it on all day. And I'm like, that makes sense, but that's not how, to each our own, how I want to live. I don't want to have to leave it on all day for my dog to listen, because there's no way that I would be able to, one, keep it charged all the time perfectly. Oreo? To keep it charged all the time by leaving it on all day and just always dependent upon it. Because it always comes down, this is what always messes up, folks. This is the part that you always mess up. When you got the thing on, especially the e-collar, because Prong collar ain't got no batteries. That's what I would say is that one's going to be a little bit more effective than the e-collar at the end of the day, because there's no trickery with it. You can't like lose battery. But when it runs out of battery and you need to tap it and you can't tap it, and the dog looks back at you, it's like, oh, you didn't do it? Well, forget you. And it still just does what it does. That is the most aggravating, to me personally, you know, you may be cool with this or whatever. That is the most aggravating thing to me. And then worst case, you know, I've done this a few times as well, tapping it and it wasn't on right. It wasn't getting contact. And because the dog did something and it flipped it around or flipped it to the side and it's not gaining contact. So the dog doesn't get contact and you're like, no, stop that. And then you press it and then nothing happens and the dog just still keeps doing it anyways. It's so aggravating. It's so just like, that doesn't show that that dog is in its prime of life, of listening to you because it wants to. It's doing it because it has no choice to. That's unfortunate that a lot of our relationships are like. Man and woman getting married, that's what sorry, my memory card done just got full right there. But I guess the biggest thing that I want to be able to explain about what it is I'm saying, and go ahead and just end this here at this point, Oreo, all done, is everything that's around me, every single one of these living beings that I have, from these chicks to these cows to these dogs to my kids, even to anything, spouse, anybody. I want them to be there because they want to be there, not because they're forced to be there. That's what we're struggling with today, I believe, is things are with us because it's forced to be there and not because it's living in a sense that it wants to. And I'm doing all I can, especially with these dogs that pretty much have like minimal desire to like want to please, to kind of show them it's in your best interest to, because I'm not here to hurt you. I'm going to give you everything that you need. And I'm going to continue to keep on giving you what you need over and over and over again. And that makes them want to be with me and not be forced to. And when they want to, they listen to 99% of what you're asking them to do. They are so focused on wanting to like give to you, because not only is it just that one way that they're doing for me, I'm also doing for them. When the dog has a desire that I got to go do something, because like my dogs are smart today, when they just get to that point that they just, two of y'all in there laying eggs? When like my border collie and the Dalmatian, they both get to this like we got a little bit extra tonight. We got to run out. They go to the little flirt pole and they look at it and they look at me, and I'm like, Oreo. Yep, get her out of there. Sorry, she's gonna have a. After they lay eggs, I don't know why, not all the time, but after they lay eggs, they just get the bucking and clucking louder than any rooster could possibly be. So I don't understand why some neighborhoods don't allow you to have roosters when in reality the hens are louder. They make so much noise. But we just I allow my dogs to push them out so they could just stop that madness, and then usually they stop. But I got to do that 50 times because there's about 50 of them out here that are constantly bucking and clucking like that. But I don't know what it is, but the animals listen to the dogs. They can have a really good conversation back and forth that just like they understand. And that's a cool, like the bridge I can say between me and the cows, chicks, and pigs and everything else. The dogs is that bridge to gap, to get them to understand what it is I'm looking for. And if I'm coming at the dog in a sense of hostility, because I've seen this with how my border collie used to work and move my cows and stuff, I came at him with a little hostility. He comes at the animals with hostility. When I come at him slower and more calm and more patient, he goes at the animals more calm and more patient. And he lets them know what we want. Because even like right now, he's being super polite, which is explaining to this hen to like just get out of here. Get out of here. Whereas a couple of years ago, this would have been a whole hot mess. And this is something right now that I use to be able to let my Dalmatian know. That's dumb. You're with me. You don't need to like engage and get into the middle of that. This is the biggest part of this. Is why y'all really want your dogs to get fast track. I'm telling you, go to the park where the squirrels are, where the ducks are, where everything is, and just hang out there. Because there's always something moving that's your dog is like, once they start to chase, your dog thinks it's ready to go get in it. Oreo, Johnny, all done. Oreo, come here. Come here. She's far enough. I got it. Come here. She's good. All right, get down. No. When something else is going on, your dog is like, I got to get in there. I got to get in there. That's why a dog park also is really, Oreo, all done. That's why a dog park is also really nice because the dogs are playing and doing what they're doing and your dog is like on the sidelines. You got to be able to get the dog to be able to relax at that moment, just be able to hang out, be able to chill, just be able to do nothing, but just be there. They get a little excited, look at it, but I do not want the dog lunging and going, Oreo, get down. I don't want the dogs to be lunging and going crazy and just going absolutely wild. And that's just time over, doing it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And that comes down to just what I want to say is being very, very slow and patient and just chill with the dogs. Because if I come in and try to get all excited, oh my goodness, and we're trying to get excited to like make excited go away, it's just not the way the world works, people. And someone straight up said that to me at one point. That's how it works. To get a dog to be calm, you use excitement to battle the excitement to get the dog to be able to relax. It don't work that way. You're going to double down in what it is that you actually want, which is calm. And that means that you got to stop and slow down and just hang out. But the main thing is, I want the dogs to do that in a sense because I, for one, have given them something that they're able to use. And my dogs today are smart, as I was saying a second ago, that when they have this like, I got to do something, I give it to them. I let them run. It takes me 15 minutes. Some days I'll go 20 minutes and just play with them and just get them running with the little fur pole. And I just get them running. They're like, they just look at me and they're like, man, thank you. They go lay down, get some drinks, lay down, and look up at me and it's like, I appreciate you. We're working back and forth. They have something that they need, and I have something that I need. And when we work that way, they want to do what's in the best interest of what they are, what dogs are, to please us, to help us, to get stuff done for us, to work for us, to be there for us. And when we're allowing the dog to be able to be what it is, it's there because it wants to, not because it has to. That's why I got away from using any sort of, let's just say, pressure equipment, I guess I can say. Outside of, yeah, I got a leash on the dog. I got a collar on the dog. I'm still forcing the dog, straight up. But I don't need to go more than that, I guess I can say. Because I realized that that's making the dog have no other choice. I want the dog's choice to want to be there, not to have to run away. Thank you. No, Johnny. No, Johnny. That's my egg. I know there's at least 3 in there. That's about to be a good scrambled eggs right there for me. So I think I'm gonna make a video. I might not have time tomorrow, but just talk a little bit more about food and more about how I've came to the understanding and the reality of being able to work with these animals and to get more of what it is that I'm looking for. It's an overall experience out here that a lot of people unfortunately are lacking in. All the way down to the point of the video of me packaging chicken up and this is just stuff that I do. And it's allowed me to be able to see, like, for one, like the reasons for dogs. Why my border collie does majority of everything I'm looking for. Sometimes I gotta say things twice, but the dude just goes in. I told you he crazy. He go in a drive, man. When they got a chicken in his face, bucking and clucking, and me to just recall him off from that, like, that's intense. I got a dog with intense drive, intense prey drive, intense, like, I don't know if stalking is a drive or not, but intense stalking, intense stare, and just to say to him, yeah, not right now. I just told him to do it, and then in the middle of doing it, yeah, let's stop right now. But go back and do it again. Yeah, but stop right now. This is getting on the level of, like, extreme working with animals in reality. This isn't just some playing around and just doing nothing and sitting around and think my dog is going to be that way. No, this is just constant work. This is constant going at it. And I started to realize, like, how to be able to work with these dogs because of using them in literally their intended purpose. This border collie is showing me so much, just so much how to be able to help out working with dogs. Especially just watching him in that, like, I need to get like one of those added 360 cameras. Johnny. You stuck on those eggs, man. I hear you, they good. So you can see what I wish you could have seen what his face looked like when I was like, no, because he's in it. And then he looks back, he's like, but it's right there. I want to keep going. And it's like, it's a huge just how incredible he is, and how what this whole video I'm talking about, how willing he wants to please me is for him to stop in the middle of that, come to me and say, okay, I'll lay down. I'll disengage right now. That's how strong their desire to want to please us is. But when I come in with him chasing that animal like that, because I've tried this and I got out of it just as fast as I got in it, because he's one of those dogs that, for me, he gave a wrong reaction when I put the e-collar on him that I'm like, nope, never doing that again, because he gave a little, and then he got shut down. He literally just laid in the middle of the field because he was fine with the lower levels, but when he would get into said full drive and I had to, like, give him that get out of that drive, he just laid down. And I was like, he didn't give the response that I needed. I should have spent more time, done this, but he just decided that he's like, I'm not playing this game. I'm not doing this. And he stopped, like, wanting to be so listening to me is all I can say. And because it came down to, you have to, and I'm not giving you a choice but to have to listen to me. And we started to butt heads. But when I get away from that, and I'm not using, like, some sort of pressure to pull him off from that, because my best case scenario, guys, anyone that got a border collie and you're still here listening to this, and you're just like, how the heck do I get my dog to stop chasing animals? Because they go into what I want them to do every time, is full engaged drive. Every time that this dog is moving a chick, if I tell him to, he is in full engaged drive. He's not halfway doing it. He's not, like, slowly. When you see him moving stuff behind me, he's, like, halfway in it. He's not really, like, full. That's why I can easily speak a name, and he just stops on an instant. I rarely have to, like, say anything twice to him when he's just doing that. But when I say, get that chicken out of here, he is fully engaged. To convince that dog to stop from being fully engaged to coming back and hanging out with you, my best case scenario is to walk to him, put a leash on him, and walk him away and relax. Because he doesn't understand, because he's fully engaged. They're not listening to us. They're stuck in it. So you have to, the best thing is, that's how I let him know, because he wants to do it with me. He wants to be engaged with me. But once I remove myself, that's why when I'm not out here, he doesn't play with nothing out here. I don't care what's going on. Let's see what he's going to do. He doesn't do nothing because he wants to do it with me. So then when I go up to him, I put the collar on him, because I don't even put a collar on him at all anymore. He used to always have one on. But I would always have one on him. So that I'd have a leash with me to be able to walk up to him, put the collar on him, and remove him. Because when I would get to him, he stopped, like, chasing. He stopped going at it. He would hesitate and look at me. And it would be just enough time for me to be like, leash on, and we're leaving. And then a few times of that, he would just stop and look back. Okay, I got to stop now. And then he will come back to me. But that takes just doing it over and over and over and over again, because they go into full drive. And to try to interrupt that, that's where, for me, a lot of especially the PSA sport, the PSA 3 routine they do it's just ridiculously impressive to me, because these dogs are in full drive and they have nothing. That's a requirement at that stage, is they have no equipment on them. They got no collars. They got nothing, not even a flat collar on, and they're in full drive doing stuff. And you have to like recall your dog from being in full drive. That's impressive. That's impressive to be able to do. That takes a whole different level of skill than just. That takes some skill. That takes a lot. You got to know how to work dogs. That's why not many people have actually like completed that performance, because the dogs are in full drive, man. They're not just like la hanging out. How I got my dogs completely calm and relaxed. They are okay, guys, all done. They are fully invested into the middle of it, and to get them to stop doing that takes repetitions, and repetitions.